cool. That's funny. How'd you pull that one out? That surprised me right there.
Listen, this is what we do at Dugout Discussions.
That's really good.
We just roll this way.
No one's ever asked me about that, but it's 100% true.
It's another episode of Dugout Discussions with Chris Rose. This is Marlin's outfielder. Not only just outfielder, all-star outfielder, Kyler Stowers. Or should I call you first baseman after I saw you play up there the other day? What are we doing to you?
Yeah, it's something that Skipper brought up in the off season, and with kind of how my spring went with the hamstring injury, didn't get. I think it's the chance to get work in games there, but was working on it on the side and got the chance to do it in a rehab game, and then obviously the other day in San Francisco.
Okay, now hold on here. I know you played a little bit at Stanford at first base. Rehab game, fine. Major League Baseball. Yeah. Rafael Devers staring down the barrel at you is a little bit different, isn't it?
Sure. I mean, holding runners on or infield in with the lefties up, you're definitely a little closer to the action than I'm used to in the outfield. But at the end of the day, like just something that I tried to have fun with. Do the best I can, and believed in my chances to be good enough at least.
Please tell me you wore a cup.
I did not.
Come on, man. What are we doing? You're a bright kid. What are you doing?
It's just, something I've never done really when I've played. So we'll see if that's an addition later on.
What do you mean if? Let's take that little word out, throw it out. If you do that, can you make me one promise? I don't know anything about playing infield or outfield for that matter at the major league level. Yeah. We need this.
Yeah. The funny thing that I feel like you used to hear people say was like, if you have good hands, then you don't need a cup. But I don't know. I don't know if most of the infielders even wear them anymore. So
come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Hey. Yeah, I don't know.
So how did you find out you got drafted while you were at Stanford?
I was actually playing. We were in a regional game, regional championship. And I think I was on deck. Pitching change happened. And my head coach came up to me and goes, 71st pick. And congratulations. Teammates started coming up, dapping me up, and got a standing ovation from the crowd, which was really special. I just remember that at bat, I was really trying hard to hit a home run, and I grounded out. And then funny thing about that was I actually never heard what team my coach said. So when I was running back to the outfield, after that next inning, I asked our shortstop, I go, hey, what team was it to? And he said the Baltimore Orioles. And I never did any meetings with them during the season leading up to that. So they weren't necessarily a team that was on my radar, but an organization that I loved being in. And it's a good story.
Well, what type of coaching is that? You want all your players to be laser focused. Instead, you're like, well, here's your future. Now go give me a knock.
Yeah, I think he was just honoring the fact that like he knew probably how much I was thinking about it that day. It was something that was very much on the forefront of my mind, and I think after it happened, it actually felt easier to go play because it was like, hey, that's that has happened. It's behind me, and now it's now we can move forward versus being like the what if, when am I going to get picked, am I going to get picked today, and stuff like that.
Well, a couple of years later, you get traded. Did that happen in the middle of a game too?
No, that I was. We were in Charlotte. Kind of long story short, we've been moved out of our apartment in Baltimore, moved out of our apartment in Norfolk, kind of had an idea that it could happen. And I had just gone out of the tubs, getting ready for a game. And one of my former teammates, Kobe Mayo, said Norby and one other player got traded to the Marlins. And I went and checked my phone, and I was the other player. I had a missed call from Mike Elias. And so that was how I found out that happened.
So we quickly, in our early 20s, find out that this is a business. Mm-hmm. What goes on with you when that happens?
Yeah, I think just the thing that people don't see, obviously we end up on the field to play, right? And so you just go, okay, well, like, the process to get there, the logistics to get there was probably very smooth. And that's just not the case. The next day, right after I got traded, I was on a 5 a.m. or a 6 a.m. flight to Tampa to play in a 12 o'clock game. And, got there at like 10:30, shook hands for about 30 minutes, did media for about 15, 20 minutes. And then next thing you know, I had about 40 minutes to get ready to play for a game. And, with a team that I never played for, guys I never knew or haven't met yet. And so, I just think that's a part of it that you don't see, I guess, as a fan. I had my wife who, was figuring out how to get to where I was and all that stuff, our bags, all of our, we had our dog with us, and obviously I didn't have the baby then, but guys who have families and get uprooted overnight. And that being said, obviously we're well compensated. We get to do a very special thing, but definitely some of the logistics that I think the fans don't see.
So then a year later, you're going against your old team and you lay the smackdown. 5 for 5, 3 homers in a game. I imagine somebody said something to you while you were rounding the bases for the 3rd time. Who stopped you?
Yeah, I think you had like Cowser was playing left field that day, leaving gum or something in the outfield, trying to mess with me. That night, the night before, I should say, got dinner with a good few of those guys and catching up with them, and definitely kind of smirking as got to second. I see Jackson, got to short. I see Gunner, and guys that I just have played so much with, and it was an oddly familiar, comfortable experience, just because I can't say I spent a ton of time in Baltimore, but that was the first big league field that I got accustomed to, and so it was really cool to go back. And the thing I will always say is I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel a little extra good to have a really good game against them.
Dude, it's a year later, you still have a huge smile on your face. That's good. You'll always own that moment over.
Yeah.
And it happens to come a couple of days before you play in your first All-Star game.
Yeah, and that 12-hour stretch felt like fake life. That was a very special experience.
And in the game, you're in the home run swing-off, and it's you and Schwarber and Alonso representing in the National League. Was there a little bit of you looking around like, wait a second?
Yeah, 100%. There was imposter syndrome with that one. I just remember, ironically, it was with obviously the Dodgers coaching staff was the
Dino Ebel was throwing it to you, right?
Yep. They were the NL coaching staff, and nice to have Clayton there. When they were telling me, I thought they were messing with me that I was going to be doing. I was like, there's no such thing as a swing off. The game's going to end in a tie, and we're going to go home.
Well, Kyler Stowers just found out he's in this contest, so he's going to lead off.
Kyle, Dave Roberts just told you minutes ago that you would be leading off the swing off. What was your reaction?
I had no clue this was a thing. I'm pretty nervous right now, but it's fun. And when the game finished and they all kind of convened at home plate, and you hear the guy start to announce what we were about to do, I was like, I better get my batting gloves, because I thought they were messing with me the whole time, because it was my first All-Star game.
And so when you get up there, it is unlike any other kind of batting practice you will ever have.
Yeah.
I mean, did you feel like every set of eyes was lasered in on you?
Yeah, I think as I was walking up, absolutely, right? Because you had the AL team, everyone's out of the dugout, watching you, and you only get 3 swings, so it's not like you get time, or I've never hit BP off of Ebel before, and obviously he was money, so I definitely felt super nervous. And then just like anything though, you just try to, I guess, focus on the task at hand and get present. And thankfully I was able to hit one out. I think that was the saving grace of the day was actually hitting one. But one of those moments where if they would have given me the choice, maybe not something I would have done, but the fact that I did it, I was just so grateful I got the chance to be in a moment like that. Because that's why you play the game, for just the opportunity for special moments. And whether or not they go well, that some are going to go well, some aren't. But just to have the opportunity for special moments, I think is why I play.
Did any of those big guys say anything to you before you walked up to the plate?
It happened so fast, so no. I just knew I was going first, and like I said, they announced that we were doing it. I got my batting gloves on, and within seconds, I was being interviewed by Rosenthal, talking about how nervous I was, and then I was in the box. So it was really fast.
That's amazing. All right, you have to help me out on a true/false question. When you were younger, you used to umpire Little League.
True. I did that for, I guess it was kind of like my community service, for high school.
Okay.
Volunteer community service. I would go to my old Little League, and I would umpire. Did
you throw? Because parents can be brutal.
No, I was pretty fortunate. I wasn't behind the plate, so I didn't have the tough job, and I don't remember having any moments where people got mad at me. I think it was a Little League that I played at as a kid.
So they knew you were a stud, and they were like, okay, we're not going to get on him.
There was some familiarity, so Yeah, it was cool. That's funny. How'd you pull that one out? That surprised me right
Hey,
there.
listen, this is what we do at Dugout Discussions.
That's really
man.
good.
We just roll this way.
No one's ever asked me about that, but it's 100% true.
Okay. Do you still have the umpire's uni and the clicker?
There was no uni, nothing. I don't even think I had a clicker on me.
So you just wore t-shirt, shorts?
It was yeah.
El Cajon, we're just rolling out there, like hat on backward, the whole bit.
Just like this, yep.
Okay. All right. Well, if you do play more at first base, you're kind of like the social chair over there. Yeah. So you have to up your game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you do. Do you talk to yourself in the outfield sometimes?
In the outfield, you try to give a little shout to the center fielder every now and then. Maybe look at the fans, especially on the road when they're chirping you. I laugh when they, when I look someone in the eye and they, throw me the bird or something. I find it funny. So, at first base, talk to the umpire, talk to the first base coach, talk to the guys on base. I like the social aspect.
Okay, so who can you learn from? Who are the best, if we were to rank like the top 3 most welcoming first basemen in baseball?
I always thought one that I always liked talking to Matt Olson. Big fan of his game. Obviously, really, really good with the bat and the glove. I actually thought it was so cool when Bryce Harper would call me by my first name when I'd get on first. I'm trying to think who else. I remember he's not playing anymore, but Rizzo was a really
good one.
Yeah, was a good one. So I'll name those 3.
Did you have to stop yourself when Harper said, "Hey, Kyle, what's up"?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy because it was so early in my career, and so I just thought it was super cool.
It's a tricky dance you have to do over there because you don't want to be happy to see guys because then your pitcher's going to get pissed off.
Yeah.
But you like I said, I've talked to Freddie Freeman about this a bunch. He's like, well, we all know that the game is so hard. So when you actually arrive at first base, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, it's just, we have all relations. We're all doing the same thing. Like you said, we're all competing and, there's so many grindy days in this game. And so, when someone's able to, like you said, get on first, you just, maybe it's not that you're happy for them, but you just, respect that they were able to do that.
Okay. So I mentioned you went to Stanford. There are some schools, great schools as well. When you go there and you're an athlete, you can kind of take the athlete classes. Stanford is not one of those places. What was the hardest class you took?
For me, it was probably econ.
Yeah.
That was probably the toughest one for me. But you'd be surprised. I mean, obviously, you're not you're in control of your academics. No one's really obviously doing it for you. You hear stuff about other schools, don't know whether it's true or not, but definitely felt like it was harder to get in though than it was at school for me.
Because I've talked to Tommy Edman. And he's like one of the smartest people I think I've ever talked to, period.
Yeah.
Were you guys there at the same time?
No. So Tommy's a San Diego guy, so I'm very familiar with Tommy. He hosted me when I was on my unofficial visit, him and Cal Quantrill in their group. And then Tommy and I trained together a little bit in the off season, so very, very familiar with him. He's a little bit smarter than I am on the academic side of things. So.
Yeah, but don't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Now, Quantrill. Now, he's a handful, that one. I think it's because he's a Stanford pitcher, because those are like their own breed, right?
Yeah, Quanch is awesome. He was with us last year, and really, really enjoyed being around him. Brought great energy to the clubhouse every day, was a great leader for a lot of us young guys last year, and yeah.
Last thing with the Marlins. You guys are a team that you got some young, up-and-coming talent, and on a national level, we don't talk enough about you. Who is the one or 2 guys that people around the country should be paying attention to?
Yeah, if I think I gotta believe he's well respected in this game. Xavier Edwards is to me one of the best second basemen in the entire game. The guy, hits 300 everywhere his whole life. I think when he moved to second base, it just he became an elite second baseman. And then the second one, I guess, how could you not go with? I think I'm gonna name 2 more if that's okay.
Go for it. You're
Liam Hicks, who's playing unbelievably well. Someone whose hit tool is special, and then now he's starting to slug, which is really cool to see. He's made so many improvements from last year, and he was such a good major leaguer last year, but he's come back even better. And then probably the guy who's the biggest, I think, sleeper on our team is Otto Lopez. I think, all-star caliber player. great teammate. I mean, just like his ability, he's a playmaker at the shortstop position. I don't know if there was a play the other day that I slid for, missed the ball, and he guy gets to second, around second, and before he even touched second, Otto started throwing the ball back to second and back picks a guy. And it's just, just heads up plays like that, and someone who's a very, very capable hitter as well.
Well, continued success, man. You made the All-Star game a year ago. You're on the rise, bro, and congratulations on being a daddy.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the best deal of all.
Yeah,
and you use those road trips to sleep.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks, you're still running around in your 20s. Nah.
Yeah.
The minute you become a dad, that first road trip, doesn't matter what business you're in, you hit that pillow as hard as you can, right?
Yeah.
That away.
Yeah.
Keep
Awesome.
going, brother.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, we got a lot more coming your way, including questions with the Queen.
I've been noticing a lot of you guys tapping your head with the new ABS system. What do you think of it so far?
I like it. I think it makes the game better. I think it gets the fans involved a little bit more, and people stop complaining. I love that.
I complain a lot about strikes and balls. I played a big part in having this, ABS brought this year, because I don't know if some people seen the interview I did where I kind of, MF'd some of the calls that the umpires made.
I'm fed up with the umpires. I've had enough with the umpires.
A week later, ABS got in there. So I got a fine, but hey, it's for the better cause.
So you're like the godfather of ABS in MLB.
I haven't tapped my head. I don't think I will, but if I do, I'll probably be nervous. It's not my job to call strikes and balls. So
sometimes you go in the dugout and the lace is touching the line and it's a strike, and then everybody's like, oh, man. So, I mean, it's give and take, but I feel like I'm going to be really good. I think I'm going to stay above 90% on corrections of,
That's an A.
Yeah, I'm getting an A+. And I didn't really get too many A's in school, but on that ABS, I'm getting an A.
I'm going to say nay right now. And I'm a hitter, too, so that makes it, it seems to favor the hitters. I'm going to say nay. I'm a baseball purist.
Why? Not why are you a purist, but why nay?
I think it slows the game down. It makes it feel a little less pure in the baseball sense.
I mean, the only thing I would say, there has to be a third of the ball in the box, because I don't know, some of these that are scraping, I don't know, they've never been strikes before, so kind of say it's a strike now. I say a third of the ball.
I'm with you on that one. I'm in. Have you tapped your head yet?
I have a couple times. It's helped me out a little bit. So by the end of the year, I think I'll switch my answer.
I heard another pitcher talking about it recently and completely agreed. The catchers fool me all the time. So my first couple years, I used to not throw a fit, but if I thought I had it, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I go back in and I'm wrong every single time. And they're not even close. I think they might be close. It's blatant. And I'm the only one in the stadium that thought it was a strike. So after embarrassing myself for a little bit, I just kind of assumed if the umpire said it's a ball, it's probably a ball.
I mean, after the other day, I'm giving it a thumbs up. I had one overturned in my favor. So, I think there's good things and bad things about it, but I think we're just going to have to let time play out to see, how it evolves. I think there's some things about it that could be a little bit better, but this is what we have to work with.
No, I think there's pros and cons to it. I think the umpire is being judged by one single standard to try to get the game to one single standard. I think that's good.
What do you think could be better?
Just the zone itself. I think it's kind of shrunk the strike zone a little bit by just putting a line across the back of the plate and it not being the whole plate itself. So 3D model maybe would be something that would kind of benefit both sides.
You're removing the human element of the game. They're scared now to call strikes. And so it's just kind of fundamentally changing the game of how the umpires are approaching the strike zone themselves. And it's not just go out there, do your job. There's been a fundamental change amongst how they see pitches as well. So, an important case of that is, the rule book says knees kind of to waist. How does an umpire know what 27% of a player's height is now?
I was told there was no math during this umpire exam. As a veteran who's been around these umpires a long time, do you feel a little bad when they get publicly shamed?
No, I mean it's part of it. I think that You know, if you're watching the game on TV, they were getting that all the time. Now it's just in front of the fans in the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I've never umpired, but to be able to tell the ball clips a imaginary strike zone by a 1/10 of an inch is probably going to be a pretty hard gig. I understand you got to have some sort of uniformity, so you know that is called a strike. But you know, the stuff on the edges it's a lot of time coin flip.
No, because I feel like we get booed, we get chirped. Like they're on the field with us, so they gotta take it too.
I think they do a really good job, honestly. It's not an easy job back there. I mean, I'm back there, and now with me having to try to control the strike zone, it's tough with those pitches on the edge.
I don't know. I think it should, if anything, might give more respect to what the umpires do back there. You know, they make a lot of calls, and they make a lot of them right. You know, we remember the bad ones and the ones they get wrong, but you know, for the amount of balls and strikes that they're calling and the right calls that they're making, I think it's pretty impressive.
Have you practiced the tapping of the head just to?
No, I'll leave that to Cal. Yeah, I think we did it. They had it in spring training last year, and he went like, I don't know, he got like almost everyone right. So
of course he did.
I think I'll just leave that to him. Yeah.
You will not see me tap my head. The thing about being emotional sometimes is you can be so happy that you executed the pitch and you missed by an inch and you know it's a ball, but deep down you're like, oh, I really wanted it tap, and then you look really stupid when it's a ball and now you only have one challenge. All your teammates are side-eyeing you in the dugout, and it's like, I'll just let them do it. They're brave. They know the strike zone better than me. They make it look too good when they frame it. I'm going to think everything's a strike.
No, I'm going to leave that to call. I am really bad. You know how I land, so I don't even see where that thing is landing, where the ball is, where the ball hit. So I'm going to leave that everything on call. If he thinks that is a strike, he can call it.
Have you ever tapped your head and gone, oh, what did I do that for?
Yeah, a couple of games ago. Blue, I think it was our last challenge. It was about the third inning, and it was strike 3. So yeah, I felt pretty bad. Probably won't do it for a while.
My first one, I had some butterflies going, waiting for the thing to pop up. But as we get into it more, you know, I think it's kind of a trust your gut deal. You know, you gotta trust how you saw the pitch. You know, obviously situation dependent, but if you think it was a ball, you go for it. Not always going to be right, but you know, if you are, it could swing a game.
Well, the past 2 times I got nervous and I got it wrong. So like when I'm confident about it, I'm always right. I was nervous the past 2 times.
So when that happens, do you look in the dugout or do you not make?
No, I don't look at anybody in the dugout. I just go. I'm like, I'm not even gonna look at Mendy, the manager. I'm not gonna give him my eye because I don't want to see what his expression.
Who is the guy on your team that you trust the most to use it?
I'm going to go with myself, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to go with myself. But if it wasn't me, got to go Naylor.
Curb and Woo are usually right, and they're really good at the front hip sinker that comes back onto the plate that can fool umpires sometimes. So I feel like if a pitcher does something really well that an umpire's not used to, those guys could know that it's usually a strike. So I trust them more than I trust myself.
And who's the guy who, when he taps his head, you're like, oh God, there goes one of our challenges?
Probably Julio or Randy. I mean, I think they're going to be able to let me tap my head. I don't know how much I'm going to be using that, but I think I'm going to be able to.
And if you're wrong, are you going to walk back to the dugout and be like, damn it?
He'll probably punch me on the top of the head.
He probably will. He's gonna make you guys wear it if you're wrong.
Oh yeah, he will for sure.